Without the help of the Arbiter, 2552 would have almost certainly been the year of humanity's extinction. His work uniting humanity and ex-members of the Covenant was instrumental in ending a war that killed tens of billions, a victory unattainable without his help. That said, only a few months prior, he was one of ONI's highest value targets, and high-ranking agents had planned an operation that would have altered the course of galactic history, almost certainly leading to the final days of the human race. This is ONI's highly classified assassination attempt on Thel 'Vadam, the Arbiter. The Human Covenant War will remain for many decades the bloodiest war in human history. Despite the many questionable initiatives commissioned by ONI, outposts, colonies, and human lives continued to be devastated by the Covenant. Those responsible for these acts of genocide directly followed the Prophet's will, leading fleets of hyper-destructive battlecruisers through human colonies, leaving a trail of ash and destruction in their wake. The most notorious fleet, very likely holding the highest kill count among the entire Covenant Navy, was the Fleet of Particular Justice, led by Supreme Commander Thel 'Vadam. ONI's first encounter with Thel was in 2535. Intel at the time had indicated he was merely a representative of the Prophet of Regret, but after Jai 006 engaged in combat with him, it was clear he was far, far more than that. Before becoming the Arbiter, Thel 'Vadam was responsible for the largest loss of human life and space. With his fleet, the then Shipmaster and Supreme Commander cut through human-controlled space, destroying major UNSC manufacturing planets, roughly 120 UNSC ships, and glassing countless planets. ONI Section 3 tried multiple times to track his fleet, but each attempt ended up with an agent winding up dead. These deaths contributed to an ever-increasing kill count of over 1 billion human lives, and that isn't even including the fleet's most significant victory. On August 30th, 2552, the Fleet of Particular Justice appeared at Reach, and was instrumental in crushing the resistance that humanity had mustered. Thel's fleet was ultimately responsible for the death of over 1 billion people, and the destruction of the only planet that stood between the Covenant and Earth. At this point, ONI's private investigators declared him the most dangerous Covenant military asset on the field, and the officer's strategic artificial intelligence calculated a 0% confidence rate that the UNSC Navy could take down the Arbiter by conventional means, and thus, ONI decided to take matters into their own hands. On September 26, 2552, the order was given for ONI Section 3 Lieutenant Commander Jameson Locke to build a target profile on Thel, evaluating his military history, personal history, and lethality. When all was gathered and accumulated, Locke came to only one clear plan of action: assassination. ONI higher-ups agreed on the wet work, and given his now extensive knowledge on the target, Locke proposed to carry out the hit himself. However, on November 3rd, the hit would be called off. In the month ONI had seemingly spent planning the operation, tensions within the Covenant had risen to extreme levels, resulting in the outbreak of the Great Schism, the Covenant civil war that was sparked by the elites being removed from positions of power and then replaced by the most dishonourable of creatures, the brutes. This led to the Arbiter and his elite's alliance with humanity, something that ONI could not afford to break for the good of humanity. As we know, this alliance went on to be instrumental in putting an end to the Covenant, and to this day, remains. However, just because it mustn't be broken, doesn't mean ONI can't discreetly sabotage the Arbiter and his forces. Even after all that he and his Swords of Sanghelios have done to aid humanity, intel indicates that ONI have conducted numerous operations post-war to ensure the elites are never strong enough again to repeat their wartime behaviours. Reports show that ONI divisions experimented with genetically altering a grain that's commonly eaten by the elites called Irakan. They grew test crops of it on Onyx that was indigestible by the elites, and that would outgrow the regular healthy grain in less than 3 years. Their plan was to use this crop as a failsafe to cause mass starvation among the elites should they attempt to revolt at any point. ONI prowlers have also been known to disguise themselves as hostile ships, notably Jackal pirate ships, and secretly destroy some of the Arbiter's cruisers, to ensure humanity always have the upper hand in ship warfare. In March of 2558, ONI took a blunter approach to undermining the strength of the elites, indicating a possible change in their methodology. Artas Vadum, shipmaster of the Shadow of Intent and one of the Arbiter's closest and highest ranking officials, was designated a priority target by ONI, just as the Arbiter was when the order was given to assassinate him. The same was also done for every single other elite administrative and military authorities. What could ONI be planning? Well, later that month, they may have attempted to set this mysterious plan in motion. 3 ONI prowlers were caught trailing Artas and the Shadow of Intent, and were consequently shot down by the shipmaster. This seemingly grave act of betrayal was the last we heard of Artas and his cruiser, and the reason for ONI's priority targeting of him and his fellow elites is still entirely unknown. That said, despite ONI's tendency to carry out immoral, inhumane operations for reasons unknown to even those within the office, one fact does remain clear. Humanity was also likely responsible for the death of billions of the Arbiter's fellow elites, so he and his brothers have more than a valid enough reason to rebel. The question is, are ONI going too far in sabotaging those who saved humanity when they themselves were going to carry out an assassination that ultimately would have doomed humanity? So that just about covers all of the details surrounding ONI's abandoned plans to assassinate the Arbiter, and also their continued efforts to discreetly weaken the Sangheili. Do you think ONI's worries and actions are warranted, or do you think that they're overstepping the mark and risking sparking another war with their low-key betrayals? Honestly, this is one of Halo's biggest grey areas right now, because you can totally understand both sides of it, so let me know what you think and your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Also, thank you to those who are supporting me on Patreon: Ardent, Tomahawk, Taylor, Evan, Momo, Shikata, Mjolnir, Matthew, Pierre, Manu, Tony, Ben, Jim, Regan, Jack Madden, Eric Brown, Sam Grafton, and Bruin98, and everyone else too. I really appreciate all of the continued support. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. More ONI content is most definitely on the way. I'm loving making the videos, and you guys are loving watching them, so it's really a win-win. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.